Senator Natali. Senator Williams.
Thank you, Chair. Ms Holgate, thank you for being here. In relation, do you know any figures when it comes to the $22 million paid by CBA, Westpac and NAB? Who does the most transactions, CBA?
CBA would make the highest number of transactions. They're the largest bank.
Yeah. Is this the argument ANZ are putting forward? Imagine CBA did 22 million transactions a year, that's $1 a transaction. NAB and Westpac did 11 million, so that's $2 a transaction. ANZ only did about 5 million, which would be $4 a transaction. Is this their argument they're putting forward? They do less transactions than the other big three?
They are arguing, not necessarily from the other big three, they are actually the third largest bank in Australia.
Right.
But they are arguing
to rural transactions, I thought they might have been less. But
they are arguing that they are smaller than, I think today they quoted the Sydney banks, the two large Sydney banks. Our costs are not don't just occur by the absolute volume or the absolute value of transactions. It goes back to the example, you know, of what we were just talking about, the rural post office in Queensland. You know, there's a small post office where overnight we had to put in a safe, Armaguard to go.
You've been there, you understand
multiple times, but that added $50,000 of cost into our network immediately. Now, we're not paid for that. No matter the number of value of those transactions that we do with that post office will ever compensate us for that.
Yeah.
But Australia Post is about giving a community service. Whether you are a customer who goes and wants to a branch or 100 times, we're here for everyone.
Yeah, good day. On to Australia Post, the LPOs. You've got about 2,800 of them when I was chairing a committee here years ago. How are they performing? Have you got many in trouble? Because we know we had an extensive hearing, more money paid to the LPOs because they were doing it really tough, especially the small community ones. How are the LPOs performing?
Well, we have roughly 4,357 overall post offices and post points.
I'm aware of
Of that, about 800 are corporate owned and about 3,500 are licensed post offices.
Right.
You know, often our licensed post office partners talk to me about the need to have increased payments. Their business has changed so significantly. Predominantly, they would have been in a world of letters. We've talked about those letter volumes coming down. And now they're in a world of parcels and increasingly bank at post operations. That's why increasing this minimum fee by 25% is so important for them. But I may just ask Dave, who runs the post offices nationally, he can give you a little bit more detail.
Thank you. Dave McNamara, General Manager of the Post Office Network. Thank you, Senator. We've actually seen, obviously, a lot of our post offices have been in trouble, so been working through with them. We've worked through around what we did with minimum payments, so we've increased that since the Senate inquiry, working through with our post offices, and we're also currently working through the payment review. And we know as part of that payment review, it's ensuring that we actually balance the work based upon the work that the outlets are doing and looking at what other capabilities we can work with our small outlets and actually giving them other sources of revenue. So looking at buying programs, how we help them actually get merchandise in there. So we're looking to support them in a lot of ways right across the network.
When will this review be completed?
We're looking to have that wrapped up by the end of this year.
Yeah, because I know during our inquiry the LPOs are getting the raw end of the deal when it came to the parcel handling. We're well aware of the huge drop-off in letter volumes. I think it's 400 billion emails a year or something sent in Australia, huge amount. And we're aware of that, so that'd be good, and I hope your considerations and your inquiry into the LPOs keeps them financially alive because they are an essential service, especially in the regional small communities.
Definitely.
Thanks, Chair.